In this exciting episode, we're going to talk about the beautiful beast of a lens, the Tamron 24 to 70mm 2.8 G2, and find out if this lens is for you. Roll that intro. Welcome to this exciting episode. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. Whee! The range 24 to 70mm is a very popular lens as it covers pretty wide angle shots, but you also have this slight zoom to it. I recently went for a short trip to London, UK, where I could test out my beautiful Tamron lens. As you can see, the quality, the sharpness is quite good. You know, I am impressed. The colors are very good on it. I think the colors are very true as well. The bokeh of the lens is also quite nice and smooth, much better than the predecessor 24-70mm generation 1, where the onion rings were very noticeable. In this one, if you zoom in, you will see signs of the onion rings, but it's a much better quality than the previous version. This is a non-variable aperture, meaning that if you start at 24mm and zoom into 70, the light will not change, as it often does in lenses that was with your camera. You might see that the aperture is variable. The build quality of this Tamron Generation 2 is fantastic. It's about 900 grams, which is roughly about 2 pounds, I would say. This lens is also weather sealed like my camera, as I mentioned in the previous video. And compared to some other lenses out there, for example the Sigma, the whole lens is weather sealed, not only some parts of it. The autofocus is very silent. It's very smooth manual focus as well. Now I use it on my Canon 1DX Mark II, and that pairing for me is just fantastic. And you might think, a Canon 1DX Mark II with a Tamron lens? It completely works, I promise you that. I just saw a fly. Oh! So you can see that the lens picks up all the small details, even the little flies. If I travel, I don't need to bring two lenses as I have a 24 to 70 already in one lens. So for traveling, if you only want to bring one lens, this lens will cover quite a good range for you. It's got an image stabilizer on it, which I use both for pictures and video. Now I mainly do videos, and you really need a stabilizer, especially if you hold handheld. Now if you use a gimbal, that might not be necessary, but if we compare it to the Canon lens, the much more expensive 24 to 70mm, they haven't got a stabilizer on it, meaning that it will be basically next to impossible to shoot handheld without some kind of jerky movement. It will not work. So you would need a gimbal for that. However, for the fantastic price that you can get this beautiful Tamron 24-70 G2, you don't necessarily need a stabilizer. So again, you travel lighter if you go to shoots, weddings, whatever, your backpack or your carry-on is going to be lighter for that sense. Now let's mention the sharpness a bit on the lens. You can open it to 2.8, which is fantastic if you want to have a more cinematic look in your videos. Now, the edges around it might be a little bit softer, but if you shoot video, that is something that you usually don't notice. The client will not notice it for sure. However, if you take still pictures, there are some slight vignetting. I would be careful in shooting 2.8 as the edges, again, they get a bit soft. If you go up to 4, the edges become much sharper. If you don't need that depth in 2.8, shooting at 4 will definitely make your image much sharper. Now the price. For me that is very important, as sometimes I feel that you pay a bit more just for the brands. So Canon, Nikon, Sony are lenses which are going to be much more expensive than this Tamron lens. Now a couple of years ago, Tamron and Sigma as well were considered a budget and low-cost lens, like an alternative to the big boys. But they have certainly changed around and upped their game. I get a little bit annoyed when I hear people saying that Tamron, oh, that's for beginners. But I have used this lens in professional shoots. I have done commercials with it, and not once have I been, oh, I should have had a Canon or a Sony or a Nikon. No, this lens is fantastic. I don't regret buying it at all. So I feel it's a bit unfair to say that this lens is for an up and coming, as the quality you get in it is very good. So I would get this lens instead of a Nikon lens, for example, which will cost many $100s more. I would save the money and get another thing. I could get myself a CFast card, a microphone, gasoline for my car, food. Buying this lens will actually save you money. What? That's it, guys. That's all I had to say about this beautiful lens. I hope you got some good advice. If you have any further questions, comment below. I will answer them. I guarantee you that. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps. I get very happy. You can subscribe to my channel, as I will do further reviews of gear that I can recommend and use on a daily basis. I'm also gonna have Premiere Pro, After Effects tutorials to get your filmmaking skills and photography skills hopefully a little bit better. Now, until next time, that's Paul signing off. Woo! The focus is always good here, you see? I always do this focus testing. Oh, my previous video. Check it out. You want to? It's about the Canon 1DX Mark II. It's very good. Yes, bye.